Okay, hey guys, ToonKritic here. So, I'm here basically with one reason. I'm here to tell a story. Story about Caitlin Spencer. Now, I've only recently told this to some of my friends, some of my closest friends, and I've not told really the public this, and I've been debating telling this story because there's a lot of personal things that are in it. So Caitlin Spencer is not actually the name of the person in the story. I had to change it, so any names you hear are not representative of, the actual one. So please don't Google this. Please don't try to look up or dig into information in the comments. Please just don't, because I'm only going to tell the story once. So, from the Newbie Dash thing, if you watch, Cartoons tells how I was bullied in middle school and I fought back and I became a darker person, and in high school I joined another group, but I was different and I ruined someone's life. That's not the full story. It was freshman year. I joined up with a group of guys that had initially started bullying people, but I joined their side basically to prevent myself from getting bullied. And I'm not proud of some of the stuff that I did, but I did it because I didn't want to get bullied. I'd prefer to fit in somehow. And Caitlin came into the picture a little while later because she was getting bullied too. She was my first girlfriend, and I was about ready to leave the group for her, but something happened. So Caitlin she was way more mature than she had any right to be at her age. She knew a lot about the world. She understood a lot of things. She was the one who convinced me, basically, to leave. She was beautiful, well-educated, smart, all of these things that I admired. And group found out about it, and they're just like, hey, you can't do that. You have to choose. Either it's us or her, and if it's her, we're just going to make her life miserable too. And I didn't want that, so I decided to leave. I had written a letter for Caitlin that was basically me saying, you know what? To hell with the group. I'm joining with you. Let's take things a step forward. I loved her, so I wanted to go further. And I found out that when I delivered it to her, and basically said, read it and then come to me tomorrow and tell me what you think. She didn't come back for a week. And when I finally decided to go and find where she lived, which took me a while, I had to do some scouting and a little bit of other things, I found out that she had killed herself. Now this confused me because I knew she had some depression problems. She had almost attempted it before because of the bullying, but I made sure that didn't happen. I stood up for her. I defended her against the group. I found out that the group had switched the letter that I'd sent. They knew about it. They got to that letter first, and they replaced it with a letter that was the harshest thing I think I had ever read at the time, which at the end basically said, go kill yourself because Zach doesn't love you, Zach doesn't care about you, he's using you, and you're gonna just be a part of a big trap. It's all one big plot. And she killed herself. She meant the world to me, so seeing that happen, I can't remember any point in my life where it was that terrible. Just that terrible feeling. Thank God that hasn't happened recently, because I would hate to lose any of my friends. But yeah, that's one half of the story at least. The point is, I guess that's where the depression started kicking in. That's where it's gotten, well, at least after high school it wasn't as bad. I quit the group. I found out that they were still messing with people, so I fired back. I humiliated them in an assembly. Almost got my ass kicked. But it got to the point where they were expelled, finally, so I thought that was over. Then comes part 2, mock trial, as I like to call it, where a couple of my friends, who I considered my friends, distanced themselves from me, and then basically brought me into a classroom, and they held a mock trial, saying, should I be punished? They had info on me from my past, and they decided that as punishment for supposedly giving them a letter that, for me, apparently I was the one that gave the letter to Caitlin to go kill herself, which was not what happened. They didn't know the full story, but they didn't care. And so I was humiliated. People that I trusted, people I thought that would have my back or would understand me, turned on me. And then I lost, the bully group. So I was really on my own, finally. And I don't know really how to explain it, but it was an ego check for me. It was a reality check. It was, there's an episode of MLP that actually talks about this. It's not as extreme as what I had described, but it's similar. I'll get into that later, but there's not a day that goes by that I don't miss Caitlin. It's been years. But she's my motivation, basically, to not give up. Few people know this. I suffer from depression. And there's a lot of days where I just don't want to get up out of bed. Ever since February, it's gotten worse. Anxiety has gotten worse. I feel inferior to a lot of the other reviewers. I feel like my work isn't good enough. I feel like what I do isn't good enough. I'm always scared that I'm like, just one step away from losing my friends, losing it all. Because I don't want to be alone again. But I have this group of friends now that I wish could have been there sooner. The reason I'm telling this story is because people deserve to know the truth. People deserve to know some context as to why I gave up the channel, basically. Cartoons has the saying that what doesn't break you only makes you stronger. But I did get broken from it. In the past, at least. But if I'm broken, and why am I still here? That's the question. Of course I suffer from depression. Of course I suffer from all these problems. You think that stops me? You think when I go out on stage to BronyCon or any other cons, I still don't have that feeling? Of course I do. I have that feeling like all the time. But that's not stopping me from doing what I think I do best, and that's entertain you guys. I love what I do. I'm glad that I've been able to embrace that, and I'm getting to go do my work, go to cons, meet so many fans, all of this. Gratitude for that. I give back to you guys as often as I can. And sure, there are times where I feel like my work isn't good enough. That there are people who do what I do, but only better. I guess in some sort of way, I guess what sprouted cartoons was that I felt inferior. I wanted to try and get myself out there more. But in order for me to get better, I can't be the best. I can't be the same person that I once was. So a lot of things are going to have to change. which is why I'm gonna come back. It's a risky move on my part, but I don't have a choice, because I'm not gonna sit around and let cartoons just walk all over all the stuff that he's tried doing, all the crazy stuff, all the shenanigans, all of that, because I'm not going to let the past dictate my future. I promise you guys. Wherever this is going, I don't know where this is going. What I do know is that eventually this has to end. And whether it's me or him, wish me luck.